Welcome everyone. This is the Masterclass. My name is Patricknazareth. I have around 30 years of teaching experience and I would like to help dispel your doubts should you have any. Today we look at the lesson My Childhood, written by A.P.J. Abdul Kalam. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam was one of India's greatest scientists. He worked on its missile and space programs. Also called the Missile Man of India for his work in defense technology. He became the 11th President of India in 2002 and he was called the People's President. He was a teacher and a motivational speaker who inspired millions of young people. Also an author who wrote many books about science, life and dreams. He is known for his simple lifestyle, the love he had for children and his dedication to making India a developed nation. This story shows the early experiences that shaped his character and his values. Kalam was born at Rameswaram in Tamil Nadu in 1931. He died while delivering a lecture at IIM Shillong in 2015. He was brought home and given a funeral and burial at his hometown, Rameswaram. Have you ever wondered at the meaning of the word secular? What does it mean exactly? This story attempts to show us that. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam was born into a middle-class Tamil family at the island town of Rameswaram. Before independence, this was the Madras state. His father, Jainul Abdin, was neither educated nor was he very wealthy. But he possessed the advantage of being wise and truly generous at heart. Abdul Kalam was one of many children. He was a short boy, not very handsome. His parents were tall and handsome. They lived in a large Pakka house, the ancestral home, on the Moss Street at Rameswaram. A lot of people used to come and they used to be fed by his mother, Ashi Amma. His father did not believe in the need for comforts or luxuries. However, the basic necessities, medicines, education, clothes were taken care of and the boy grew up in a stable environment. The Second World War broke out in 1939, as you are no doubt aware. Abdul was 8 years old. There was a great demand for tamarind seeds. So this young boy went about collecting these tamarind seeds and selling them at a provision shop for the sum of 1 anna. His brother-in-law, Jalaluddin, used to tell him stories about the war. They were isolated from the war, which was taking place in different theatres like Europe and the Far East. But when India joined the war, emergency was declared. What happened? The train no longer stopped at Rameswaram. As a result, the newspapers which were collected from the station were no longer being dropped there. They were thrown out of the train. His cousin, Samsuddin, who was a distributor of newspapers, was looking for somebody to help him to catch these bundles which were thrown out of the train, and the young Abdul took up the job. He still remembers the pride he felt when he earned his first salary. A child, any child, is born with certain characteristics, and his environment shapes him further. Honesty and self-discipline Abdul got from his father. From his mother, a kindness of heart and in faith in the goodness of man. He had 3 childhood friends, all of them Hindus. Ramanand Shastri, who was the son of the temple priest. Later, he becomes a priest himself. Aravindam, who grew up and went into the business of arranging transport for pilgrims. And finally, Shiva Prakashan, who became a catering contractor for the Southern Railways. No sort of discrimination was practiced among these children. The fact that Abdul was a Muslim never interfered with their friendship. He remembers a time there used to be the annual Sri Sita Ram Kalyanamam ceremony. The idols of Sita and Ram used to be brought out in a procession, taken to a pond near his house called Ram Tirth and married there. Their family was in charge of arranging the boats, which had a special platform to bring the idols of Lord Ram and Sita from the temple to their marriage place. In his house itself, events from the Ramayana as well as from the life of the Prophet were bedtime stories that his mother and grandmother used to tell all the children in the family. One day it so happened, and this was at a time when Abdul was in the 5th standard in Rameswaram Elementary School, a new teacher came. And what does he see? He sees a boy wearing the sacred thread of the Hindus, a high caste Brahmin boy, sitting next to a Muslim boy who was wearing a skull cap on the first row of the classroom. The teacher did not like this at all and he forced them to change places. He sent the Muslim boy. He said, Abdul, go sit at the back of the class. The boys could not protest. Ramanand Shastri cried, and Abdul never forgot that. When they went home, they told this to their parents. The boy's father, remember, he was the high priest of the temple, sent for the teacher. And there he gave him a strong lecture on how discrimination should never be practiced on the basis of religion or caste. This so influenced the teacher that he himself became a convert to this idea. Abdul did not feel bad about this. He points out that in Rameswaram itself, there were different caste groups. For example, his science teacher, Siva Subramania Iyer. The Iyer caste is a very orthodox Brahmin caste. He had a conservative wife, but he was forever breaking the barriers of orthodoxy. He invited Abdul to his house. His wife was horrified. A Muslim child eating in my house, eating from a kitchen which has been ritually purified. How can this be? However, Iyer brought him over. When he was there, Abdul ate. He was fed not by Iyer's wife, but by Siva Subramaniam Iyer himself, with his wife looking on from behind the curtains. Being a child, a thought occurred to him. What would she find different in me? Would she find something different in the way I dipped my hands into the rice and dal and carried them to my mouth? When Abdul finishes his meal, Siva Subramaniam Iyer tells him, you've got to come next Sunday. The boy is hesitant, but he says, don't worry, you have got to come. And he does, and this time, Iyer's wife serves her himself. Siva Subramania Iyer was a bit of a free thinker. He wanted Abdul to have a good education so that he could make the best of himself. He recognized something in this boy, and he set out to ensure that whatever be the cost, even if his caste people would not like it, he would teach this Muslim boy how to be good and excel in life. The Second World War came to an end, and then Abdul asked his father, give me permission to leave Rameswaram and to go to the district headquarters of Ramanathapuram to pursue my studies. And his father said, of course, you can go. You have to go where your heart takes you. His mother did not like the idea, but the father quoted Khalil Gibran to her, where basically he says that our children are not our own. We bring them into this world. We cannot put our hopes, our thoughts onto them, because each child, each teenager, each adult has their own thoughts, and you should not try to interfere with them. Instead, you should help. Who are the characters in the story then? The narrator, A.P.J. Abdul Kalam. He is a short, ordinary-looking Muslim boy. He is hardworking, intelligent and ambitious. He is respectful towards all. We have Jainul Abdin, the father, a simple but a wise man with little formal education. He avoids luxuries but provides all necessities. Honesty and self-discipline are his biggest traits. He is supportive of his son. Ashi Amma, the mother, a generous and kind-hearted soul who feeds many people outside her immediate family. She tells religious stories to her children. We have Ramanand Shastri, Kalam's close friend, who is the son of the temple priest. He shows how true a friend he is by weeping when Abdul is forced to sit apart from him. Pakshi Lakshmana Shastri, the high priest of the Rameswaram temple, Ramanand's father. He fights against social inequality. He reforms the discriminatory teacher. Siva Subramania Iyer, an orthodox Brahmin science teacher, progressive thinker who wanted to break social barriers. He encourages Kalam to achieve greatness, patient and determined to change his wife's mindset. What are the settings in the story? Rameswaram, which is an island town, previously in Madras state, now in Tamil Nadu, India. Moss Street of that town, where Kalam's family stays. Rameswaram Elementary School, where the discriminatory incident happens. Rameswaram Temple, which is of course the religious center of the town. The family house where Kalam stays. It's built in the mid-1800s. It's made of limestone and brick. And Ramatirth, the pond near the house, which was used for religious ceremonies. What are the literary devices in use here? First, metaphor. Does the seagull not fly across the sun alone and without a nest? The father compares his son to a seagull, allowing him the freedom to do what he wants. Imagery. There are detailed descriptions of the house, the war period, and daily life. These visual descriptions help us picture the scenes in our mind's eye. There is irony, calling 1 anna a princely sum when it was very little money. It shows how simple are the pleasures we have as children. 1 anna might be a very small amount to adults, but for people like you, a little bit of money goes a long way. The symbolism, the cap, the sacred thread, they represent religious identity, a Hindu and a Muslim. The kitchen, social purity and boundaries. Quotation, using Khalil Gibran's quote about children to show universal wisdom. The first person narrative. The personal storytelling, since this is written by A.P.J. Abdul Kalam himself, makes the entire episode very believable, very touching. What are the themes that run through this story then? It shows us how people of different religions can live peacefully together, how Hindu and Muslim families support each other. Perhaps it is something we should look at in this changing time of ours. There is the fight against discrimination, to stand up against social inequality and prejudice, where you have to be one of the few good people who work to change unfair systems. There is education and growth, the importance of learning, because education is the one thing that can break social barriers. The importance of teachers who inspire their students to achieve more, to become something better. There are family values. What should parents teach us? In his case, he is taught honesty, kindness, and discipline. What have you learned? The father supports his child's dreams, even if it means separating from the child. There is childhood innocence. Children themselves don't have religious prejudices. This is put into them by people who are older, their elders. There can be friendship that spreads across religious boundaries. The son of a temple priest, a very high caste person in the village, probably the most important person in the village, and he is friends with a Muslim boy. That's the lesson there for you then. I do hope I have been able to help. If I have, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Remember, there might be others who would be requiring our help. Thank you so much for watching.